Rabbi Daniel Gordis. He's a prince of the conservative movement. His grandfather was a somebody. Everybody involved with him was in the JTS. So years ago, I remember he wrote something about the death of the conservative movement because basically, they gave up the whole halacha thing, the whole heter for Chil Shabbos, just for the sake of going to, I wouldn't call shul, to go to their place of worship. So that basically showed that any pretenses they had for keeping halacha were out the door, and most people could see this. Everybody knew this. So now he's written that I thought he gave up on the whole movement beforehand, but now he says he split with them completely. Apparently, he was still attached to them somehow. Says he split with them completely because of their leftism. Okay, now they're being too leftist. You read what he wrote about how he sees on the left there are too many people who are just accepting of anti-Semitism and not understanding that the Jewish people were in a struggle for their very existence. His own son, who I guess had a better upbringing than he did. I've seen people, they were basically involved in the conservative movement in America. They come to Israel, they don't really have a home. Thank God the conservative movement and the reform movement are very weak here in Israel. If you want to go off the derech and not keep the Torah, so you could just do that. You don't need to give yourself this shadow of, you don't need to pretend that you're still part of a halachic movement, the Jewish movement, because you're afraid of losing your identity. Here, you live in Israel, you have a Jewish identity, and many of them have integrated at least into the mainstream from community. I think it'd be better if they were more Haredi, but whatever. It's still better for them. Their children speak Hebrew, and they're committed to Am Yisrael. They keep the Jewish holidays. They know halacha. It's much better for them to grow up here. So he's kind of surprised. He's saying, well, their leftism, their outright racism against Jews is just too much. Okay, so anybody in two eyes could see that this is or their replacement for Judaism. They've replaced Judaism with their rabid leftism that doesn't leave any room for actually Jews to be the victims. So he says it's reached its logical, well, these aren't his words, but he's seen that the conservative movement has reached its logical eliminationist anti-Semitic conclusion. And then he says his grandfather would ask him, so what took you so long? And yeah, that's what everybody's asking him. What took you so long? You don't realize it? You should have realized you were involved with a lot of sheker all these years. And I think also there were other pundits in America who have been pointing this out. Oh, why are people waking up to certain movements being anti-Semitic? Oh, now they're anti-Semitic. I think there was what was this? I think, was this Candace Owens' problem? She said, I think she was correct about one thing. I know you don't want to say that. So I don't like her either. I'm just trying to say it. She made one good point. She said, for many people, the people who took their money away from Harvard and all those places, they said, oh, now they're being anti-Semitic. Now I can't support this. And all the time you were being racist against other people and all the other terrible things they were doing, you're okay with that. But now finally they turned on the Jews. You're Niemöller. Who's Niemöller? You know what that was? That Christian Galich who wrote the poem about first they came for these guys and first they came for that guys. And Nazi Germany said first they came for them and I wasn't them, so it bothered me. Then it came for the Jews. And then they came for me and there was no one to stand up for me. So she's basically pointing out, I don't want to get involved in the argument, just trying to say that this exponent of the conservative movement has broken with the conservative movement because, now they've gone too far. Now they've gone too far. And they didn't go too far before that. Well, it wasn't Judaism. It hasn't been Judaism for decades. But now that they've gone hand in hand with the anti-Semites, that was the line. They crossed all sorts of lines beforehand.